This video is going to go over the reflection essay one. If you haven't already, please make sure that you have access to the reflection essay assignment sheet because a lot of what I'm going to be talking about in this lecture is going to go over that information. Okay, so first up, we want to talk about what the purpose of this reflection essay is. This is a much shorter paper. It's only 1 to 2 pages long. And what this paper is going to do is it's going to give you the opportunity to really think about the writing process that you went through for Unit 1. Right, so that you can identify the things that you did really well so that you can continue doing those things as we move forward into Unit 2, and to also think about some things that you wish you would have done or that you know that you need to improve on so that you can, specifically focus in on those things when you're working on major essay 2. Okay, this also gives you the opportunity to really sharpen your peer review skills, right? You're not necessarily doing a peer review on somebody else, but you're really practicing those peer review skills by looking at your own work and kind of again looking critically at it and the things that went well and the things that need improvement. I do want to note that there are very specific content requirements for this paper. So it's really important that you follow these directions carefully. As long as you're following these directions and you're including the required content and structure, you should earn for close to full points on this assignment. Okay, so let's go ahead and get into the brainstorm, right? We really need to think about our major essay 1 paper in order to write about it. So we're going to do a 2-part brainstorm. The first part is going to focus on the writing process as a whole, so everything that you did leading up to your finished draft. And then you'll also have the opportunity to look at your finished draft and see how that went. Okay, so first let's start off with the writing process. I have a couple of different questions here that you can think about. Again, these are just guiding questions. You can certainly think about other questions if you want, if there's other things that you want to talk about. But I do want you to really reflect on this writing process. So a couple of things that you can focus on. The first would be like time management, how much time you were spending writing this paper and going through the writing process, like how much time you were spending on drafting and organizing and revising, things like that. What did you do well there? What do you need to improve on there? Hey, also use of resources. Were you using the resources that were available to you, like the readings and lectures, outlines, example essays, right? Taking in and using all that information that was provided to you. And did you also use outside resources? Like, did you meet with your instructor? Did you use the writing center and meet with a tutor? Things like that. And again, kind of thinking about how helpful all of those were and whether they contributed to your success or not. Hey, you can also think about critical reading and note taking. So making sure that you were um, reading the directions carefully and that you were meeting all of the requirements. And also kind of, again, looking back at those pre-writing strategies and reflecting on which ones worked really well for you and which ones maybe didn't, so that you can, again, focus on those moving forward. Some other things you can think about. Again, you don't have to focus on just these 3. It can be anything that went well during that writing process or anything that you wish you would have done or could have done better. You can also use this as an opportunity to provide me feedback. Was there anything that I, as your instructor, could have done better for you as well, right? So use this to kind of explore that entire writing process. Okay, the second half of the brainstorm is going to focus on the finished essay. Okay, so now you would want to sit down with a copy of your paper in front of you and kind of look for different parts of your paper again that went well and things that you know that you need to improve on. So again, these are just some suggestions on what you could focus on, but you could look at your thesis statement and how clear and specific it was. You can look at your content and organization, right? Whether you had all of the required content and that you were organizing it in the way that it was supposed to be organized. Looking at rhythm and flow. This is where it's talking about transitions and just how smoothly it read. Okay, you can also look at grammar and punctuation, right? Doing another read through will help you see if you proofread very well, or a lot of students struggle with punctuation, especially commas. Is that something that you struggled with? or something that you looked out for in your paper, and things like that. And again, feel free to talk about other things as well. What else are you proud about with your essay? Or what else do you wish you would have done or could it, or what do you think you could have done better? Okay, so again, kind of going through your paper and taking a look at what that finished draft looks like and what you think went well and what needs improvement. Okay, once you complete this brainstorm, you can then start organizing your information. On the assignment sheet, I have provided a an outline map that shows you what belongs in each paragraph in the essay. This should be 4 paragraphs total. I'm going to start with body paragraph 1 because usually it's easier to write your body paragraphs first and then go back and write your intro. So body paragraph 1 is going to focus solely on what you did well, and that's both in the writing process and in your finished draft. So pull from your brainstorm, what are the things that you mentioned that you did really well, and kind of think about what you did to make that happen and or what resources were helpful in accomplishing that. So I want you to be specific here. What were the things that you think went really well and why did they go really well? And within that body paragraph, make sure you start with the topic sentence that gives an overview of whatever it is that you did well, and then answer those questions within the body of your paragraph. Okay. The second body paragraph is going to focus on what you need improvement on for major essay 1. So this one, you're going to think about how could you have done better? And again, this focuses on both the writing process as a whole and your finished draft. What could you have done better? What do you wish you would have done? Or what do you know that you need to focus on moving forward? And how can you make sure that that happens? Or what can I do as your instructor to help you with this? Okay, so again, you're going to create a topic sentence that gives an overview of what needs improvement, and then you'll be specific about that and how you can do better or how I can provide you resources to help you improve for the body of the paragraph. Okay, once you get those 2 paragraphs laid out, then you can go back to your intro. In your intro for the requirements, you'll probably want to start with a 2 to 3 sentence overview of what your voice essay was about. So just giving us just a very quick summary of what your essay was about. And then your last sentence should be your thesis statement, which is where you're going to very briefly tell us what are the things that went well for you and what are the things that you need to improve on. Okay, so that we know what's coming in your body paragraph. So look at those 2 body paragraphs to see what you need to focus your thesis statement on. Okay, conclusion, you're going to give a 2 to 3 sentence overview of what you did well and what you need to improve on. So it's going to be very similar to the thesis statement. You want to say it in a new way. Essentially what it is, it's the summary of your first 2 body paragraphs. Okay, and then I want you to end by telling us what you learned about this experience and how you're going to apply what you've learned moving forward. So like, what are you going to continue doing and what will you change moving forward? And that should be your conclusion. So 4 paragraphs total. So some other tips and requirements to think about for this. Use the outline to guide you. If you do, it will ensure that you have all of the required content and you're using the appropriate paragraph structure, which is going to earn you the most points. One thing I do want to note with this, with the way that I'm grading this, it doesn't matter what your answers are. Everyone's going to have different answers, right? We all have different strengths and weaknesses. What I care about is that you are thinking honestly and critically about this, and you're being specific about those things that you did well and why they went well and what needs improvement and how to improve on those things. That's what I want to know. I want those specifics and I want it in the structure that is provided to you, right? In a finished essay format, right? Which is going to have that introduction paragraph with the thesis, body paragraphs with topic sentences and supporting evidence and explanations, and a conclusion paragraphs. Again, 4 paragraphs total. Okay, also make sure that you are using MLA format, which again is Times New Roman, 12-point font, double space, 1-inch margins, all that good stuff. I also want to note that we're not going to be going through the writing process for this essay. This is kind of a one and done type thing. We're not going to be outlining and getting feedback and then drafting and revising and things like that, because it is a much lower stake assignment. And again, you'll pretty much get the points as long as you're following the directions. But if you would like to have it reviewed, I highly recommend using a writing tutor, or you could always send it to me to have it reviewed beforehand. I can't always guarantee that I can get it back to you by the time that you want, especially if you give it to me the day that it's due or something along those lines. But there are resources out there to have this double check before you turn it in. So if you have any questions about this, please let me know. I am happy to help. Other than that, happy writing, everyone.